And let's welcome in former NFL defensive lineman Lee J. Douzable and CBS Sports NFL reporter Tyler Sullivan. Lee J., I want to start with the controversial play late in the fourth quarter. Josh Dobbs gets basically Rayshawn Jenkins providing the pressure. Was the arm moving forward? Did that look like an incomplete pass, or was that a fumble? Did they get it right?
I think they got it right, and I really like that the refs let this play develop before just blowing it dead. If you look at Josh Dobbs, when his arm is about to come forward, Rayshawn Jenkins is making contact with his arm, and you see the rotation right here of the ball coming out of his hand. So the rotation starts before the arm comes forward. I like that they let the play continue. Heads up play by Josh Allen. We're taught that as defensive linemen, if the ball's on the ground, scoop it up and score. Let the refs make a decision. Good job by this Jacksonville defense. They came on fire in the second half. I also like the adjustments they had right there. Mike Caldwell, the defensive coordinator, didn't really blitz particularly too much. Right time to call a blitz. Rayshawn Jenkins makes a pivotal play in that game, and great job by Josh Allen scooping the ball up and scoring to put the Jacksonville Jaguars ahead of this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that was a fumble. I think it was a good call on the field. And credit to the officials for letting that play through, not calling it dead, opening the door up for a review upon a score. So, again, good on the officials there to let that thing kind of play through. But ultimately, this is just the highlight of the defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars in that second half. I mean, after that field goal, they completely shut down this Tennessee Titans team. They have an interception. They have that fumble recovery. You're talking about multiple 3-and-outs. And now you have that turnover on downs. To me, it's just an absolutely tremendous effort on the defensive side of the ball. We talked a lot about the offense and Trevor Lawrence for this team. It was the defense that ends up making them AFC South champions.
Yeah, the Jaguars have scored 111 points off of turnovers. That's tied with the Patriots for the most in the NFL this season. When we think about the Jaguars, Lee J., we don't necessarily think about a defensive stalwart, but they win this game thanks in part to defense. When you look at what they were able to accomplish in this game, you saw what Rayshawn Jenkins was able to do, what Josh Allen was able to do there on the pivotal, critical play at the end of the game. But speak to the level of defense, speak to the level of play that this Jacksonville team just did as they win the AFC South title.
Yeah, you could tell defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell had this in mind. Derrick Henry is not going to beat us. Shout out to Trayvon Walker, their first-round pick. He was abusing tight ends at the line of scrimmage against the run game. And Hamilton, the defensive tackle, had a big game as well. Josh Allen, Alua Khan, their linebacker, was all over the field. They just put it on the defense to not let Derrick Henry beat them. Now, Josh Dobbs in that first half, he made some big-time throws. He kept them, on the field on pivotal third-down situations, especially in zone. The good thing that the Titans did in that first half, they were in advantageous field position on third down situations, right? They were in 3rd and 5, 3rd and 3. The whole playbook is open when you're in 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 3. Where they got in trouble is in the second half. They were in 3rd and longer situations. And just like last week versus the Dallas Cowboys, Josh Dobbs on 3rd and long threw a ball up that gets intercepted. Did the same thing on 3rd and 13, backed up. A punt right there is a win if you're the Tennessee Titans, and that's something the young quarterback is going to learn. It was only his second start in the NFL, but you have to realize you're backed up. 3rd and 13, don't just throw the ball up. They get a pick, and from Campbell. He gets them in field goal range. Those 3 points were big because imagine if they don't get the field goal there and they punt the ball away, then at the end of the game, even with the sack fumble, they're only down by less than 3, and they just need a field goal to win the game. So Josh Dobbs will learn. He's a young quarterback. You have to understand situational football. Sometimes it's all right to punt the football away, but shout out to this Jacksonville defense. Like you said, Hakeem, coming into this game, it wasn't a defensive stalwart type group, but they made the plays necessary to win this game.
Well, they were asking a lot of Josh Dobbs, making his second career start, a playoff spot on the line, and this Jacksonville Jaguars able to get to him early and often. 4 sacks in this game for Duval County as they are going to be celebrating for the first time since 2017 as they win the AFC South Division title. And Tyler, I mean, you want to talk about a turnaround. 3-14 last season, 4 wins over the last 2 seasons coming into this season. They go 9-8. I mean, Doug Peterson, hello, a turnaround in 1 year in Jacksonville.
He's somebody that I would really banging the drum on to win Coach of the Year. He's someone that I pointed to going into the year. I talked about it a little bit when you kind of think, all right, maybe this team, Indianapolis, isn't as good as we thought they were going to be. Maybe Tennessee doesn't kind of take a step back that maybe people expect, and this could be a team where all of a sudden you rise up, and maybe Jacksonville can all of a sudden contend in the AFC South. Happened a little bit later in the season than maybe some had suggested, but here we are. This team now obviously ascending, and obviously Trevor Lawrence, not so much in this game. I didn't think he played particularly well in this game tonight, but overall, you're riding the ship. It's something we talked about pregame with Trevor Lawrence. The fact that they were able to get him right, Doug Peterson able to bring him back to that quarterback that we all saw at Clemson, that we're all putting in these high, rare air in terms of quarterback prospects like Andrew Luck, John Elway, and Peyton Manning. The fact that we're seeing glimpses of that, and I thought the touchdown to Christian Kirk, and obviously there was another one earlier in the game, right out of the gate in the second half. He threw a beautiful ball, 33 yards to Christian Kirk. You see the flashes of this guy and how special he can be. Now that you get to put him in playoff settings, that's only going to help his development. That helped Andrew Luck immediately in his first year, going to wild card weekend, then in divisional round his second year. A little bit delayed here for Trevor Lawrence, but ultimately getting into these types of situations, even in the game he didn't play particularly well in tonight, that's a playoff atmosphere. Now you go into next week in wild card weekend, you put him into another hectic must-win atmosphere. That's only going to help the Jacksonville Jaguars build a winner for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, Dougie P, an amazing job. I mean, this team had the #1 overall pick this past season, and Pete Prisco, I know, is grinning from ear to ear because he picked Jacksonville to make the playoffs. And then not only did they make the playoffs, they won the division. You said it, Tyler, right? This wasn't Trevor Lawrence's best game. Now, he did have some dots, absolute dots, when he was given time in the pocket. In that first half, they switched things up on him in the second half and started bringing pressure, and he started missing some throws. But talking about Doug Peterson getting this team together, right? Spent a lot of money in free agency, right? Building that continuity of this team in 1 year, that's a tough thing to do. Again, this was the worst team in football last year. They picked first overall. Now they're on their way to the playoffs. And that's what you want, complementary football, right? Your offense isn't clicking on all cylinders. Your defense makes 2 huge plays in this game to win the turnover battle and win this game. Shout out to Dougie P. Winners of 5 straight to go out and win the AFC South Division. He definitely should be in the running for Coach of the Year.
Basically, I'm going to put it in some baseball terms because I'm a baseball guy. I love the NFL. But basically what the Jaguars did here is they went 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts with Urban Meyer, and then they hit a home run in his very first at-bat in his first season. So, I mean, that's quite a turnaround right there because it's a major indictment on Urban Meyer and what he was not able to accomplish. And Doug Peterson, of course, won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He was already established, played quarterback in the NFL, a guy that knew that we thought and we expected him to get the best out of Trevor Lawrence, and we saw that. As you mentioned, the Jags win 6 of their final 7 after starting 3-7, and it's a absolute miserable feeling for the Tennessee Titans, who started 7-3. They finished the year losing 7 in a row. So, Tyler, you feel the effects of not having A.J. Brown, and you certainly feel the effects of not having Ryan Tannehill down the stretch, because maybe if they have Ryan Tannehill, maybe this is a different result in this game. Maybe they win their 3rd straight division title. Certainly some questions about maybe what's the future of Mike Vrabel. What's next for the Titans here, who had a chance to win this division, and they fell flat on their face to end the regular season?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the teams to really watch this offseason, because I think Tennessee needs to look itself in the mirror at this point in its franchise history. Obviously, you were able to contend with Ryan Tannehill, kind of surprisingly, coming from Miami. All of a sudden, you're able to bring this guy along. And typically, we see these kind of retread quarterbacks. Doesn't necessarily pan out. It's not like you have these elite quarterbacks like Brady going from New England to Tampa, or Stafford going from Detroit to Los Angeles. This was a different thing with Ryan Tannehill going to Tennessee, and it worked out. And really, you're going to AFC championship games, you're contending year in and year out. Now, maybe that well is run a little bit dry, and this is the offseason where you can get out from under his contract. You can clear around a little over $17 million in salary cap space. Do you hit that reset button and try to rebuild things with Mike Vrabel while you still have him? Because I consider him to be one of the best head coaches in the NFL. I mean, you saw it tonight. They nearly won the division with a third-string quarterback that's been here for less than 2 weeks. The fact that he is able to do that shows you that he is a head coach that you want to build around. But is Ryan Tannehill going to be the guy that helps them do that? This offseason is going to be critical for them to make that decision.
Lige, is that the missing piece? Is that the clear missing piece, the quarterback?
I would say yes and no. I say no just because this Tennessee team was beat up, Hakeem. I mean, Harold Landry, a guy that we thought was probably going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, goes down with an ACL right before the season start. Bud Dupree, another guy that they put a lot of money into, banged up this year. Danico Autry, they missed some time with him. Jeffrey Simmons, they're probably all pro defensive tackle this year, missed some time as well. And then Christian Fulton, their best corner. This wasn't the defense that we're accustomed to seeing from a Mike Vrabel-led team, right? They were one of the worst pass defenses in all of football. And even though they had so many injuries and they were just plugging guys away, they still were one of the best run-stopping defenses in all of football. So I think the injury bug hit them kind of hard. You talked about it, right, Tyler? I don't think you start over with Mike Vrabel. He's a hell of a coach. I mean, they went to overtime with the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're the number 1 seed in all of football with Malik Willis. They were 1 or 2 plays away from beating the Jacksonville Jaguars and reclaiming the AFC South crown. Now, to Tyler's point, right, have you hit your ceiling with the Ryan Tannehill? Are you going to be a team that gets to the playoffs and loses in the first round or the divisional round? Do you go searching for a quarterback? They have a lot of things to work through. You know, they fired their GM during the season. That's another thing they're going to have to work through. So there are some questions with this Tennessee Titans team, but I believe head coach is not one of them.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel was extended a contract last February, so they don't want him to go anywhere, and you'd have to think he doesn't want to go anywhere considering what's still in place. However, a miserable end of the season. Again, 7 straight losses.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.